The NBA going to do its best to try to get back on the court, complete the playoffs. So we are going to do our best to try to pick who's going to win those playoffs. I got Ryan Knaus, Steve Alexander from Rotoworld with me, Ahmed Fareed here. So Ryan, I'll start with you. We'll start in the East. Everyone's picking the Bucks. Are you included with everyone?
I sure am. I mean, you're talking the team with the best record in the NBA when we shut down. You got a reigning MVP in Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the roster is just built rock solid. They have secondary ball handlers and Eric Bledsoe and Chris Middleton. You've got Brook Lopez, who is just a perfect system fit, I would say. He gives them rim protection. Not a great rebounder from the center spot, but excellent three-point shooter. Kind of regressed this year. I think he was down to around 34% from deep, but keeps defenses honest and gives them that court spreading that you need to allow Giannis the driving lanes. I mean, that's where he lives, is in the restricted area, getting to the rim. So I don't see how any team can stop them. If there is a team in the East that might surprise Milwaukee, I'm going to take the Boston Celtics. I think Jason Tatum has just emerged as a perennial all-star type player, really super efficient. I think he had the top offensive rating for any player maybe after the All-Star break. Jaylen Brown has taken the next step. Marcus Smart is a better three-point shooter and just a game changer defensively. They have the ability to switch on pick and rolls. Gordon Hayward is kind of a forgotten man. He's healthy now. So I like what the Celtics bring. I'm a little bit worried about the rim protection. As I said, that's where Giannis does most of his damage. And the Celtics start Daniel Tice, who's a solid player, but not a real threat, like excellent rim protector. And then they bring in Enes Kanter as his backup, who is a defensive liability. So there are question marks there. There's a reason I'm taking the Bucks to win, but I think the Celtics have a legit shot.
Celtics could run into some trouble, perhaps, with a taller team like Indiana out there before they get to the Bucks, but certainly an intriguing team and a team on the rise that could come out of the East. Maybe not this year, but a coming year. So, Steve, what do you think? Are you going against the grain, or are you taking the Bucks out East?
Nah, I'm taking the Bucks, man. I think Giannis is too good. He's hungry. He's probably going to win another MVP award, and I think the sleeper on that team is Eric Bledsoe, the point guard. I think if he plays really well throughout the playoffs, the Bucks are going to be really hard to beat. I mean, Ryan pretty much took care of everything the Bucks do. But if I had to pick someone other than the Bucks, I think I'd go with the Sixers. We got a healthy Ben Simmons coming back. They're reportedly going to start Shake Milton at point guard. That's going to move Ben Simmons off the ball really for the first time in his career. He's more of a power forward body guy anyway, so that could be interesting. Joel Embiid should come back very healthy, ready to roll. I think I would not want to play the Sixers if I was in the playoffs. I don't think.
Steve, do you think that the Sixers need Ben Simmons to make jump shots and three-pointers in order to take the next step as a team, to open up the paint for Embiid to do what he does best, which is play in the post and facilitate? Is that a necessary ingredient, or would that just be a luxury?
I think it might be necessary. I think Ben Simmons hitting threes changes up how people play them, how the defense handles the Sixers. It opens up Joel Embiid. It changes the whole game. But I don't know that it's a realistic possibility that he's ever going to get there. We thought he was going to shoot three-pointers this year. He's just not comfortable doing it. He doesn't want to do it. And he's a really good basketball player if you don't count three-pointers and you don't count free throws. Outside of those two things, he's awesome. So I think it would be a nice luxury for them to have him shooting threes. I don't think we're ever going to see it.
Taking the Bucks out East, although you're giving some love to the Celtics and the Sixers. The Bucks, the best defensive team in the NBA by far. You figure they can gel pretty quickly once they get back on the court. So maybe a little more discussion out West, a little more disagreement. So Ryan, we'll start with you. Who you taking to come out of the West?
I feel like it's the Battle of LA this year, right? And I'm going to go with the Clippers to come out of this one. I think I can't overlook Kawhi Leonard. I do think it'll come down to the Lakers versus the Clippers, and the Clippers have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard they can throw at LeBron James, who is still somehow in his prime. But I think you're not going to stop him. But if you slow him down and maybe force a guy like Anthony Davis to beat you, not that he isn't capable of that, but I just think that their defensive mentality and the wave of defenders they can throw at the Lakers will be decisive. They also have an incredible bench unit. So you've got this tough, hard-nosed defensive unit that is the starting five, and then you can bring in electric guys like Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell off the bench, probably the best 1-2 combo of any second unit in the NBA. So I think when you consider the depth, you consider the defense and the championship pedigree with Doc Rivers as head coach, Kawhi Leonard, I don't see how you beat them. Now they brought in Marcus Morris, just yet another shooter, solid rebounder and defender. I got to go Clippers here.
So much talent on that team for sure. Haven't played a ton together before. Kawhi didn't play in the beginning of the season. Paul George it didn't play in the beginning of the season as well. You wonder if they can ignite that chemistry once we start here in the playoffs in 2020. So, Steve, are you staying in LA, and are you going with the Clippers as well?
I'm staying in LA, but I'm going to go with my man LeBron James.
Okay.
My guy Anthony Davis, maybe some Danny Green thrown in there. Look, LeBron's going for his 4th championship. He knows that his window is closing. Like, the fact that they're continuing the season at all, he's probably more excited than any other player about getting back. He's got Anthony Davis with him. He's got a chance to win his 4th ring this year. He's got a chance at number 5 next year. I feel like it's all or nothing for LeBron James at this point. And he's still, like Ryan said, he's still somehow in his prime. He's still, a top 7 player in the NBA, if not number 1. Anthony Davis is a defensive player of the year candidate. LeBron's an MVP candidate. Like I said, Danny Green, kind of your sleeper. And the Lakers may be able to bring back DeMarcus Cousins, who they cut in order to get Markieff Morris a while back. But I've heard DeMarcus Cousins may be going to LA. I've heard he may be going to the Heat. We don't really know what's going to happen there. But you bring DeMarcus Cousins into that mix, and DeMarcus is not for everybody, but on that team, I think he'd be super dangerous and really give them a good chance.
And you do wonder, the Lakers championship window may be a little smaller than other teams out there. That core, obviously LeBron in his mid-30s is getting up there. So this could be one of their last really good chances to win the NBA title. Steve, I'll start with you. Do you think the Lakers do that?
I'm going with the Lakers to win it all. I mean, this, before everything happened, before the world started to fall apart, Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash, and it was tragic. It was the biggest news story we've really had since like Michael Jackson's death. And I think LeBron and Anthony Davis and everybody who is in LA wants to win this thing for Kobe. So I think you add in the Kobe Bryant part of this formula along with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I mean, I just think it's Cinderella story. It's storybook endings. It's the way they write it up in the movies. I just feel like this is the Lakers' year.
So Lakers over the Bucks. Ryan, you got Clippers and Bucks. Who you taking?
I'm still going to go with the Clippers. As much as I like the screenplay that Steve is writing with the Lakers and the emotional narrative arc of it all, I mean, it would be a beautiful thing if they took home a championship. I'm not a hater, but I just think I'll take the talent of the Clippers, the depth that I talked about, their ability to come in with a second unit that can just smash. 2 MVP caliber guys in Kawhi and Paul George. They can switch almost everything defensively. They just have too much. And I think that when you take it to the finals, I talked about how they could check LeBron in the Western Conference and so forth. I think the same holds true for Giannis. Force him to shoot jumpers if you make Giannis a jump shooter, the Bucks are a much worse team. He needs to be attacking, and that creates opportunities, wide open shots for teammates. And I think Kawhi Leonard and Paul George have the ability to at least slow Giannis down, keep him outside of the paint, and that's going to be critical.
So a fun part for you is making the predictions. You got Clippers, Ryan, Steve, you got Lakers. Fun part for me is seeing if you guys are right and how it all plays out. We will hopefully, fingers crossed, get to see that coming up here in the next few weeks. Guys, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ahmed.